Hello, everyone. This is Linda Ferguson,
Karen Nelson Bell.
and this is the next episode of Platinum Prime for Life, your podcast for how to live a Platinum Prime life, filled with tips and life experiences that beautiful lady right there, Karen, and I have just collected over our time on this planet. So today, Karen, we're going to do something that's actually, to me, really resonates. And I have a story for why it does. And you, I'm sure, have some stories as well. But the title of this episode is Creating Votes for Your Future Self, the Power of Identity-Based Habits. And what's an identity-based habit? That's kind of the first thing. What's an identity and what's an identity-based habit? So an identity is what you're known for or what you are or who you are. Who are you? So who am I? So when we're talking about an identity-based habit, it would be a habit that you have for yourself versus an outcome-based habit. And that might be a dietary habit, a better health habit. And the difference is interesting, which is what we'll be getting into as we go through today. All right, so here is the quote that triggered this whole episode. This is from James Clear, and his book title is, Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. I don't know why it's called that, but it is a book that I've read before, and I also have signed up for his newsletter, which is truly wonderful. I'll include both a link to the book and a link to his newsletter in our show notes so that if this interests you, you can sign up for both of those.
It interests me, and I haven't read it, so it'll be fun to learn from Linda what atomic habits are all about. So.
Yeah, well, what I have to say about James Clear and why he's so utterly popular, he's gained a huge following, is his ability to just extract something that's very significant and important to many people, such as habits. He's a habit-focused person. He explains it so simply yet so powerfully that most people get it and say, oh. And such as this quote. This quote is, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. Okay? So that is how you, in identity-based habits, are transforming yourself from where you're at right now to the person you intend to become. And you do that habit by habit or vote by vote, day by day. It isn't an immediate transformation. It is something you need to work on. And so Karen and I, since we've been around for a while, we have lots of stories about times that we've decided to transform who we were to something else and how those experiments or successful activities took place. Okay, so let me just ask you, Karen, as I went over this quote with you today, did you have any stories that came to mind that you've experienced?
Absolutely, but I'm a little bit stuck on the fact that I think maybe I misunderstood because you talked about the difference between an identity-based habit and an outcome-based habit. Is that the word you used, outcome-based? And I'm not sure that I've done the habit building that I've been doing. Maybe I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me whether they're identity-based or outcome-based.
Well,
Because
let's give an example in case anyone else is not quite clear
okay,
on
I'll
what
give you
it
two
is.
examples.
Okay.
When I was a child, my mother gave me the choice of either doing household chores or practicing piano. And I always chose practicing piano because it was a little more fun. And therefore, I'm not very good at household chores. So, over through my teen years, I developed the habit of practicing. It just was something. And also, my piano teacher gave me one of the things that a teacher needs to do is to teach you how to practice so that you're practicing with good habits during your practice. You have the habit of practicing, and then you have good habits within that practicing. Now, and then I became a piano player, and I still have the habits that I had. And are those identity based, do you
Well, are
think?
they things you're known for?
Well, I'm known for being a piano player.
Good. Then that's what that is. You wanted to be known as a piano player, so you created the habit of playing
I
the
just,
piano.
no, I just wanted to get out of the household chores.
But did
I
you,
didn't really have my sights set on being a singer or anything until later in
well,
life. Until my late teens was when I started wanting to do it.
think about it this way. If you think about it this way, it's like, what do you want to be known for, or what do you want to become? What habits will take you there?
Well, I didn't know as a teenager that I wanted to be a super senior, but I do. And so
Uh-huh.
the other habits that I had to develop, I started developing the habits 7 years ago. I wrote a credo for myself, and the credo started. It is my natural habit. I wanted to be not just a habit I wanted to be very natural, right? My natural habit to effortlessly, without even thinking, choose nourishment, like what I ate, that was simultaneously nutritious and delicious in quantities and at times for optimum health, fitness, appearance, and pleasure. And so that was a habit I said I wanted to develop because I did not have that habit. Definitely didn't have that habit. And about a year ago, maybe more, maybe within this last year, I finally recognized that all of that credo had come true. Those are habits. I effortlessly choose nutrition that is nutritious and delicious. So, so is that and because I want to be known because I'm helping other people to accomplish the same thing, that they would be able to find for them what's the right uh, path of nourishment that keeps them healthy, strong, fit, and trim. That was the other part of the credo, was that I was healthy, strong, fit, and trim with boundless energy for all my days, and so that's what I want to be. So is that would be then qualify, even though it started as outcome based, but became evidence based. Would you say?
I'm gonna just did a little Google search while you were talking. This is from James Clear, who popularized the identity based versus transactional, or he just calls it outcome based. So I'm just going to read it because it's right here. Change is hard. You've probably noticed that. This is a quote from the book that you want to read. We all want to become better people, stronger and healthier, more creative and more skilled, a better friend or family member. But even if we really get inspired and do things better, it's tough to actually stick to new behaviors. It's more likely that this time next year you'll be doing the same thing that than performing a new habit with ease. Why is that? Identity based habits are focused on creating a new identity first. Your current behaviors are simply a reflection of your current identity. What you do now is a mirror image of the type of person you believe that you are, either consciously or subconsciously. To change your behavior for good, you need to start believing new things about yourself. You need to build identity based habits. Imagine how we typically set goals. You might start out by saying, I want to lose weight or I want to get stronger. If you're lucky, someone might say, that's great, but you should be more specific. So then you say, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to squat 300 pounds. These goals are centered around outcomes and not identity. So that's the first thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer my own question then. I think that mine was identity based because I did not like the identity I had, which was 100 pounds overweight, tired, in my opinion, unattractive, uh, just a burden to walk around. It was an identity that didn't suit me, knowing what I had been at various different times in younger days. And so when I set out that credo, the credo was setting forth the identity that I wanted to have and the habits that I would choose, the votes that I would vote for every day would either support or not support the new identity that I was headed towards. So I think, yes, I think they were I, I analyzed it that yes, it was identity based habits.
Good. All right. So, and actually, here's a good point, a good time to bring this up, which is we put together a downloadable handout that just has a list of identity based versus transactional or outcome based habits. Just a guide to help you get started, as well as the links to James Clear's book, as we mentioned earlier. So
What
here is my
I was just
my
going to say, what? How about you? Because I've been kind of focused here on me, my mine. I'm so interested in my own self, but I'm also, Linda, interested in you too.
that is kind of how life goes. You first start out with yourself, and then you really care about others. And if you do it in
I
any
do care
other
about,
sequence,
yeah,
it
I care
actually
about
gets a
yours.
little tough on you. So for me, there have been, I think maybe 5 years ago, I'm going to say 5 years ago, I read the book 75 Hard. And I've probably mentioned it before because it's a program that's a grueling physical program. So, as y'all know, both Karen and I we're over 50. And so um, it becomes a bit more of a challenge for me to keep up with the level of fitness that I had when I was younger. And then on top of getting married again and having a really great life with my husband, I really fell out of the habits and normal routines that I'd had in the past that just facilitated being really active. Anyway, so 75 Hard, I've done the full on program, which is 75 days of doing particular things every day. And if you miss just one of those things, you have to start the program from the beginning again. It instilled some habits that were good, that served me well, and that just gradually, especially after getting married, where I changed literally everything in my life because I was fitting into someone else's life, and we both had lived our lives long enough where, we knew what we liked or didn't like with life. So putting those things together was its own now new habit for the day. And I said, okay, well, I have an event coming up at the end of September where I'm going with my family to a marathon in Boulder, Colorado, which happens to be a very high elevation. And my level of fitness is definitely far from being able to do that. So I said, oh, I'll start 75 Hard again. And so I did, which is two 45-minute workouts a day, one of them outdoors. And so things are going along swimmingly. Anyway, what I did was I hit 2 days in a row where I really just couldn't get any sleep. I was wiped out, and my body utterly refused to go along with the program. It was just like, no, you're not going outside to do your second 45-minute workout. You're not doing these things. And so I realized, am I going to give myself a failure or just, when I was telling Karen, it's called get back up on the horse and ride once you've fallen off. So I fell off the program. And for me, timing on 75 days out just is what it is. And I can't extend it past what I originally intended. So I just realized, no, I'm going to actually just keep in the very strict discipline that serves me well. It's a good habit because ultimately, what this program does is it feeds into the transformation that I'm working hard on, which is a financial goal. Financially, I've not yet hit the goals I set for myself decades ago. And I just like, that's it. I'm not going to not hit those goals. So this program just feeds into it. So it's an identity type habit, transformational habit system, because it's taking me to who I intend to become. And I will not give that up. So there you go.
I love it.
Yeah. So let's actually just talk about when we're talking about these kind of habits, and there are many, what's a typical habit cycle? I just alluded to how many people do New Year's habits, for example, or New Year's goals. And you have some great habits, and I've actually emulated some of yours, Karen. So this is putting you totally on the spot because you didn't know I was going to ask you that. But you have a morning routine of habits that is lovely. And I won't ask you if you make sure you do it each and every morning, but I know you do it most mornings. So tell
Yeah,
us.
each and every morning. But you see, I have a different motivation. But first of all, what I want to know what ones you emulated. What did you emulate? I don't know you. I didn't know you emulated anything.
Well, my habit actually is the one where you say today's going to be an awesome day. I have a version of that. That's my
Oh,
own
that's
version.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, well, yes, I go every day. Every day. I don't miss. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is leg day, lower body. Tuesday, Thursday is arm day and core day. And Saturday and Sunday, I can either go to a real gym. I have a little gym in my house. And Sunday is like whatever I choose for that day for it to be. And every single day I ride my stationary bike. I haven't gone back to riding a regular bike because I'm still developing my balance after having had total knee replacement, because it affects your proprioception, which means how you perceive yourself in space. And I don't feel safe yet to ride a regular bike, but I ride my I have a recumbent stationary bike that I ride every single day, and I allow myself to not do that on Sundays because I go to church on Sundays, and everything that I do before I go downstairs, because if I don't do these things, I have a two-story condo. My bedroom is upstairs, and the little gym that I built for myself is out on the landing from the stairway. And if I go downstairs before I've done it, I probably won't do it. And I know that about myself. So it is my habit, it is my natural habit to do the things that I have to do and get them out of the way. Because if I don't, I just very seldom will I come back later. Now I will, because I wanted to tell you the motivation is having had that total knee replacement, because it's a very, very, very devastating surgery. It's doctors will tell you that it's the most difficult surgery to recover from. It takes 1 to 2 years to recover. I'm about 1 year out, and I was still having. I wasn't in pain, but I had a tightness that was highly unpleasant, and so I've been exercising. Thank goodness I did this knee replacement, because it's forcing me to walk a certain amount every day. It's forcing me to ride my bike a certain amount every day. I have to strengthen my quads because they cut my quads and they cut my tendons and they cut my bones. So I have to build them back up. There, I don't really have a choice, because otherwise I'll be an old wobbly decrepit old lady, which is not in the books for Karen Nelson Bell.
Mm.
That's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's forcing me to stay committed. And now I used to, I used to write. I use Outlook for my daily journal, and I use it not only to tell myself what to do, but then I keep it and transfer it into an Outlook file that says diary. So I have a diary of what I did that day. I just take it from the do it today over to the I did it today page. And I used to have to put in there, I would have an item called walk, ride bike, exercise, swim, all the things that I would think I had to do physically. Now I don't have to put that in my diary because I'm gonna do it. It's part of me. It's not like, can you imagine Karen not doing those things? No, you can't imagine me not doing these things now. But imagine me 7 years ago. You knew me, and I weighed 226 pounds, and I was big as a barn. You remember that probably. I
I
I remember
do.
it
Yes, I
like you
remember
remember.
it. In
Yeah,
fact, I knew you before you weighed that, and then I knew you when you weighed that.
yeah,
And all friends and family were gathered around you going, Karen,
yeah.
you okay? What's going
Okay.
on?
Well, I gained the weight after my husband died, and I thought that eating would replace the pleasures of having my hero around with me, and at certain times, it was really kind of worked, you know.
All right. So let's
but
talk
it, but it,
about,
but it really didn't work, you know.
yeah, let's talk about someone finding themselves in a state or condition that's very far from what they want to become.
Okay.
So let's just say they're poor, they're overweight, they hate their job, they hate where they live, they
Uh,
hate it all.
I know many people that are like just exactly what you just described.
Good. So, what advice would you give them to change that state?
Well, I listen every morning to a fellow named Eric Worre, and maybe one day we'll talk about him. He's a business coach, and I listen to him. And today I learned this, and this is appropriate to what you just asked. He said, "Nothing will change unless you change. Nothing will get better unless you get better. You have to get better for the change to occur. You have to make the change." So I would invite that person to uh, to latch on to a coach or latch on to a friend who is genuinely and sincerely invested in their betterment. You have to watch out for people who are just only giving lip service. They have to really, from their heart, want you to be your best, and get somebody that can be on the journey as a maybe a coach, maybe an advisor, maybe a accountability person, but just a friend to help you through the tough times, the hard times. And for me, I found those, believe it or not, this is weird. Think about it. It's weird. I found that on Facebook because I first started my dietary journey with a specific doctor who recommended keto, and I ended up doing keto, and it happened to work for me. So I joined his Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, I would go there 3, 4 times a day to see if other people were experiencing what I was experiencing. And now I belong to a group that is a wonderful physical therapist, Samantha Smith, and she has a group of people. She only specifically does physical therapy for total knee replacement people. And so all the people in this group, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people, only have the suffering that TKR buddies would understand. And going to these groups has been really valuable to me. So I would say maybe as a first step, find other people who are going through what you're going through. That would be my I think, I mean, you did surprise me. I don't know if I think it over all day, maybe I come up with a different answer, but I think finding somebody who's genuinely caring about you. And in these groups, these are not your typical Facebook groups where you find haters, where
Okay.
people make fun of you for asking a stupid question, or fat shame you, or they are just the sweetest, nicest, supportive people, and then people who are just in agony going through what you've been through. I saw one yesterday. Oh, it made me weep thinking about this lady who's just having the roughest time, and it gave me the opportunity to be on the other end and to be the person giving support instead of receiving support. So I guess that's my
All
answer.
right. Thank you. Okay. And I'm going to give the advice that I would give to another person.
Okay.
So, when I coach, when I do anything, the very first thing I establish is what's the goal? What are we going for? And I will actually get this, but there's a term that I got from the book by James Martell called Buying Back Your Time. And he's talking about how you give instructions to someone that's working for you, that's supposed to complete a task. But this definition, it's called the definition of done. How will you know when you're done? So, the way you know when you're done is you need to know what you're going for. That's the goal. So, the first thing you have is you have, here I am, where do I want to be? Have that very clearly defined. And then the second thing you need to know is, how do I know that I'm there? How do I know that I've reached the done part?
Linda, that's such a wonderful first step. I wish I had said that. that is that's the right answer. That is, and that's why you are such a superb coach. That is the perfect answer. That is
uh,
exactly right. And how do you know
um,
when you're done? Well, I knew I was done when I read that Credo. I guess in a way, writing my Credo was setting the goal. That was the goal. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be that without any effort. I wanted that to just be my being, how I am. And so that was setting the goal. But your answer is true. That is the first step. That's the first step. Identifying where you're headed. Oh, that's why you get the big bucks. Oh my gosh.
so funny.
You're amazing. You're
Well,
amazing.
just the why would you be very specific? Because when you are not specific, then you'll never know whether you've achieved what you want, whether
Yeah.
it's your personal success in your life, a fitness goal. I know that I'm done when I can bench press 300 pounds. Then
Well,
I know I've hit it. Or I
that's
know when I'm done when I can fit into this pair of pants that I wore in high school. Or in your case, because I know this specifically because you said have mentioned it in the past, knew when you were done with losing weight when you were the exact same weight as a particular
right.
point in your life.
That's
And
right.
then you
That's
hit that goal and you were like going for it every day. I'm a tenth of a pound off. I'm two
right.
tenths of a pound off. I think that was it. I think I'm going to hit it today. So, the very first thing to do if you want to transform yourself and adopt habits that are aiding in that transformation of your identity is be very clear on what you are becoming. And then be very clear on that once you've hit that, how will you know that you've become the thing that you're going for?
Let's
So,
do let's do a whole podcast just on that. That sounds so good to me, Linda.
well,
Yeah,
okay.
you just do the podcast, and I'll be your sidekick because I think that's fabulous.
Good. All right. So, but if you think about that, if you just did that, like, okay, I'm overweight, I'm broke, I hate my job, and I live in a place I can't stand, and I don't have a relationship, but I want to become wealthy and do this other thing for a living and be much slimmer. Those are a lot of things. Like, here's the life I don't want to lead. Here's a life I do want to lead. How do I get there? Your advice on working with a coach or finding groups that support the journey that you're putting yourself on are great. Um,
It wasn't a bad answer. It just was the second. It maybe was the second step.
yeah. Once you know where you're going, then you can look around. Then your next steps can become clearer to you. So, part of those next steps can be choose one thing, get that fully integrated into your life, and then build on that. One habit, make sure it arrives, be very consistent with it, then add a second one, and they can come pretty fast, right? That's called habit stacking. And you're selective about the habits that you want to include And because we all have 24 hours a day and some of us don't sleep well at night and it sort of throws our schedules off from time to time, um, make look at the other things that you're doing that burn time, that are not good habits for you because they don't support where you're going. Sound good? Okay. So we've got a very nice handout that I'm going to include the link to that in our show notes. And we would love to hear how you intend to transform your lives with identity-based habits. And also you can share outcome-based habits that you either intend to do or you are doing, and what your successes are and what your challenges are. And we will share those in a future episode, the one that Karen wants to do, which I think will be fun. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here for the day. Karen, is there anything you would like to share before we end our episode for the day?
I just want to tell you, I just think you're amazing. I love the people who are supporting us on this podcast. Thank you for supporting us. It's really sweet. And I love y'all. I don't know, I may not know you, but I love you, because there's just not enough love in the world. And Linda, you're amazing.
I think the same with you, Karen.
I learn as much from our podcast from you that I don't always expect that. It's very surprising. So thank you for a nice half hour.
Absolutely. The pleasure. I have a lot of fun too. Okay, everyone. So next week we will see you again. Until then, live a Platinum Prime life. Bye.